Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back with another cool pinball repair video for you today. This is kind of a pinball machine. It's a pitch and bat. This is Williams' 1970 hit and run baseball. This thing is called three different things. On the manual it says hit and sign run. And then on the flyer I think it says hit and run. And then on the back glass it says hit and run baseball. So it's got three names. But they all kind of mean the same. Look. Hit and run. We worked on this in a couple previous videos. If you didn't see those, go back and check them out, or you'll be starting the book right from the middle. Now, why would you want to do that? But on the last video, on the first video, we repainted the cabinet. And on the last video, we got the thing up and running, but just barely. It's limping along. So let me show you what it's doing, and then we'll move on from there. So it says game over, and we have 27 runs. Resets. Game over, went out. 0 strikes, 0 outs, 1 inning. And it's waiting for us to play. So this pitches, and that bats. This one works a little differently than the ones with like the running man unit in the background, in the back box. It says, object of the game is to keep ball on the field as long as possible. So basically you hit the ball, it plays pretty much, it says on it, this game plays and scores exactly as real baseball. So you try to hit the ball, and then before one of the catchers or whatever, before one of the fielders gets it, you want to run the bases. And so that's what it's attempting to do. So some of the lights work, some of them don't, but if you watch, see them running, and then they run back and everything. It's and they're running home, and then he didn't want to do it, so he went back. So it's kind of more like actual baseball, where instead of getting a single, a double, or a triple like on the other pitch and bat games, you actually try to get the ball to roll around long enough for the guys to run home. Pretty cool. But it's kind of working and kind of not working. So we need to clean some more stuff. There's a whole ton of relays in the bottom that I haven't cleaned yet. We need to do that next. And then we need to work on the bat. The pitching unit seems to be working pretty good. And then we're going to need to work on the playfield. There's all kinds of mess on the playfield. I don't think those rubber rings are supposed to be there. I don't know what in the world this is. It's just a mess. We got to paint it. So I think what I'll do first is let's lift up the playfield, and I'm going to work through some of the relays down at the bottom that we didn't clean on the previous video. On the previous video we did the stepper units, but not hardly anything underneath the playfield. So I've went through and cleaned every one of these relays. If you didn't see it, there's quite a few of them. And I found a bunch of them that have interesting names. So I figured maybe we'd look up and see if we can tell why that does what it does. So I have the runner index relay. So in a pinball machine, the ball index relay usually means that a point has been scored. So it's so that the machine can know if the ball actually made it out to the playfield. Advanced bases relay, and then there's one called the off base relay, and it only has one switch on it, and it's kind of heated up, so like it's been used a lot. So it'll be interesting to see what that does. The man motor relay, okay, and then over here it has the first position runner relay, second, third, and fourth position runner relay. Home base relay, third base relay, second base relay, and first base relay. And then there is one that says runner out at home relay. Runner out at first, runner out at second, runner out at third. Yeah. Out at first, out at second, out at third, out at home. So I guess those, you know, basically just handle exactly what it sounds like. But I thought I'd look on the schematics and see if there's anything interesting about that. So I've got the manual here. If you've ever worked on these old pinball machines, you know that the Williams manuals always have this picture of the Williams factory. So this is like a line drawing, I guess, of the factory. I don't think it's a photo. It may be, but so see how there is this little building on the front, this part of the building that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 windows in 2 rows, and it says Williams on the side, right? And then you go down a little bit, about the length of the building, and there's like an entrance, it looks like. And then if you go this way, maybe 1.5 of those, there's a couple doors that looks like it goes into the building. And if you look at the windows, see how they have like, they're kind of like, they have a kind of style to them, and then there's some kind of thing above them, like some kind of metal thing above the windows. And then they go by this side a little bit, and then it stops because there's some kind of entrance there. And then it goes a little farther, and then there's a couple other big doors back there. And the whole thing kind of has a square shape. So it tells you right here where that was. So I figured, hey, that's what it looked like in 1970. But if you look at the ones from pretty much any time in the late 60s, it has this on it. So I thought, hey, let's look at it on Google Earth. So here is that spot in Chicago on Google Earth. Now look, there appears to be some kind of thing sticking out where the 7 window part was. And then if you go down a little bit, about the same distance this way, there's some kind of entrance. And if you go this way, it looks like you can pull in the building, so there's probably a couple roll-up doors there. And then if you come down here, it appears to change a little bit, and there's a little entrance there. And then it looks like you can drive in. It looks like that's the original footprint of the building. It looks like you can drive in back there. I don't know, from the air it kind of looks the same. So 55 years later, it looks very similar. So let's look on Street View. So here's that corner on Street View. And if I can get it to move over here, look, you can see the old building down there, the old part of the building. So there's the same thing with the 7 windows. They used to say Williams up here, and then the entrance is right there, and you can see that the windows have some kind of lip on the top, some kind of metal thing. And this is 2022. Looks like they're remodeling this here, making it look a little different, or they did at some point. But there's the 2 doors at the end. Still largely the same. So let's look at this side. Turn around, drive back up the street. Boy, technology is great sometimes, isn't it? WMS, you know what that means. It says permanently closed. It looks like there's an entrance right here where it changes a little bit. Yep. So I wonder if they still own the building, or if that was... And then just like on the other side, that looks like it was the doors that you drove in. This other stuff on here too, they may have added in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, so it could be that all of that was theirs. But yeah, it looks like the building is largely exactly how it's always been. Very interesting. So way back in the day, some of these games would actually give you a sequence of operation. The Atari arcade games, even the early ones, would even tell you solid state operation. So they would tell you like what each chip is doing, what each pin on each chip is doing. It's just bananas. So it says on this old EM here, and of course this is a Williams, coin switch energizes coin relay. Switches on coin relay will energize the start relay, energize the game over relay, energize the credit unit reset coil, and energize the second coin relay. Start relay, once energized, will remain locked in until the game over relay is reset, latched. Switches on start relay will run the control motor. Pulse the score reset relay through the impulse cam switch B. This relay in turn pulses the score drum units until they all reach 0. It will energize the lock relay at cam switch 1B. It will energize the second coin relay, the reset coil, and inning unit reset coil at cam switch 3A. It will energize the out unit reset coil at cam switch 4A. The game over relay reset coil will energize when 4 score drum units and the inning unit are at 0 position. A second coin may be deposited. This pulls in the coin relay, which trips the second coin relay. The start relay does not energize now because the game over relay is in the reset position and the inning unit 0 switch is open. So it actually explains to you how everything works. But I want to see what some of these relays I've never heard of do. So we're going to read through to that. Hit and run baseball game is played as close to actual baseball as possible. It is a function of time. That is, when a switch is actuated in relation to where the runner is will determine what the switch does. Holy moly! That sounds brilliant. When a switch is actuated in relation to where the runner is will determine what the switch does. Cool. The pitch button energizes the pitch relay. The switches on the pitch relay run the pitch motor and energize the zone relay and bat relay. The bat button energizes the swing relay. Okay, these aren't quite as well of a scan, but we should be able to read it. Batter will start to run and will continue to run until the ball actuates a switch. Swing relay energizes the man motor release coil, which, in turn, actuates the man motor drive switch. Man motor drive switch runs the man motor. Fly out. Okay. When any of the 5 outfield rollover buttons or the 2 first baseline rollover buttons are actuated and the runner is less than halfway to first base. Oh, wow. That's so cool. Okay. Outfield and 2 first base line rollovers will pulse fly out relay trip coil only if the zone relay is in the energized position. A wiper on the man motor disc will energize the approach relay when the base runner is halfway between bases. When the approach relay is energized, the zone relay drops out. Okay. Out at first. When the first base gate switch is actuated before the runner gets to first base. First base gate switch. Okay. First base gate switch will pulse the out at first relay only if the first base position runner relay is in energized position. The first base position runner relay is energized by a switch on the swing relay and drops out when the base runner reaches first base. That is so cool. Out at second. When the second base rollover button is actuated and a runner is more than halfway to second base. The approach relay and the second base position runner relay must be in energized position to complete the circuit to out at second relay, trip coil. Out at third. When the third base rollover button is actuated and a runner is more than halfway to third base, the approach relay and third base position runner relay must be in energized position to complete the circuit to the out at third relay, trip coil. Out at home. When the catcher switch is actuated and a runner is more than halfway to home base, the catcher switch. The approach relay and home base relay must be in energized position to complete the circuit to out at home relay, trip coil. Strike. When catcher gate switch is actuated and a runner is less than halfway to first base. Catcher gate. Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a gate behind the bat. I see it now. I'm looking at the machine. So if the ball gets by the bat, basically the catcher has it because the switch will get hit. So if your runner is more than halfway from third to home and that ball hits that switch, you're out. That makes a lot of sense. What a good way to do it. Okay, strike when the catcher gate switch is actuated and a runner is less than halfway to first base, or if the ball is pitched and the bat is not swung. Okay. Strike unit will step up when catcher gate switch is closed, only if the zone relay is in the energized position and the approach relay is not. So the zone relay comes in as soon as the pitch is made, it looks like, and then the approach relay comes in once you get halfway to the base, and it makes the zone relay turn off. Out of park. This was the one that just had one switch. When the ball leaves the playfield via the top center exit and no other switches were actuated, this switch energizes the out of park relay. So that's how you hit a home run. Stop action. Stop action means the runner or runners will stop at the closest base, forward or return. Okay. If any of the above out or strike conditions do not prevail, the actuated switch then becomes a stop action. 3 infield exit switches are strictly stop action. Okay, so what it's saying, 3 infield exit switches. So that's the place where they've got rubber rings over it. So what they're saying is, you know, if the shortstop catches the ball and he's not quite near the base anyway, he's going to let you run to the base and stop there. But if if you try to keep running, he's going to throw you out. But if you stop at the base, that's very similar to how a real game would be played. Stop action occurs when the action control relay trip coil is energized. Interesting. So there are different adjustments. There is a novelty and credit adjustment. Phone tip and credit position, high scores as indicated on scorecard, and Grand Slam homers will register additional credits. Okay, we need to see, I guess, what novelty does. Inning adjustment controls the number of innings per game. Now look at this one. Buzzer adjustment. Located under the buzzer relay. It changes the buzzer from loud to soft or vice versa. It must just change the voltage to it or something. And then there's 10-cent adjustment, 25-cent adjustment, and a high score adjustment. Okay, folks, I want to show you something else too. After the last video, I found this little interesting thing. There are some lights at the top of the playfield. And it just has its own plug that plugs into the back box here. Just a jumper back box lighting over to there. So we've got that plugged in. You may have seen that earlier in the video. Now let's see if anything changes after we've cleaned all those relays. Alright, let's try playing it. Reset to 0, inning 1, same as it ever was. So they stopped on first. So that's one of those coils, pretty noisy. See, that would have been an out because that's one of the fielders, and it was going right for it. So I got halfway and then went back. Alright, so I'm going to try to find out what coil that is that's buzzing. Well, that was easy. It was the coin door lockout coil, like always. Maybe if I can get it to do it again. Holy moly, that's loud. So when coils buzz, the reason they're doing that, it's usually not because the coil is bad. It's because it's trying to pull this plate down. And it can't. So the plate is vibrating. And that's what you're hearing. So if you can get it to mate flush with the relay, it'll stop buzzing. So what I probably need to do is pull that apart a little bit and put some, oh look, the spring's missing off of it too. And just clean everything. I use a file usually. Just clean it up to where it will get a better grip on it, and then it won't buzz if it pulls it in. It'll be real happy like it is right now. But you can see if I try to pull it out a little bit. So it's kind of caught in between that makes it buzzing. Being caught in between makes it buzz. Okay, so that's our buzzing problem. So now that we've worked on every other part of the game, I'm going to work on the bottom of the playfield, which I think would give us the most significant improvement, actually. You can see that some of the light bulbs are buried underneath this thing. But it looks like you could probably take that off by taking all of these screws off, and then maybe you could get to what you need to. You could take the entire assembly off too, I guess. But yeah. So we've got the bat relay. This is the return relay, the pitch relay, and the approach relay, which we read about earlier. So we've got 4 relays, a big environment to catch all of the balls, the pitching assembly, the bat unit, and then this, I think this is called the running man unit. Is that what it was called? The man run motor. Yeah, so I think this is where we'll get the best improvement in the game. So let's start working through it. So the first thing I'll do is clean those 4 relays. I'll bet they're working fine because the game's pretty much playing. But we'll go from there. So if I run into anything weird, I will let you know. Okay, so I cleaned the relays, cleaned the switches, and then I took off the big board thing. There was just, it's like 10 screws. It was real easy. And that exposes all the lights. So I replaced every single one of them. Now here's the problem. I don't know if any of them work. So if I put the board back on, what happens if one of the sockets just needs a little tweak? It's under the board. How am I going to do that? So we're going to have to cheat and figure out how to make those light up and make the little man run the bases so we can see if every single one of them's lighting up. So I already tried to cheat by holding in this relay on this running man unit. And it does make it turn, but it doesn't light up any of the lights. So, you know, that didn't work. So there must be a relay we need to turn on and then make it turn. So let's look in the schematics and see if we can figure it out. Okay, so here's the schematics, and if you look for the light bulbs, you see the man motor unit, it's going to turn, and as it turns, a little wiper is going to run over contacts on the unit. Actually, there's 4 of them, I guess. Okay. And look. It's going to run around the playfield. That's how it does it. So on this side, though, those lights will not come on unless these relays are on. So there's several of them. So the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the first 7 lights are created by the first PR relay. And then there's the second PR relay that does the second set. The third PR relay, which does the third set. And the fourth PR relay, which does the fourth set. What in the world is that? I can't remember what that's called. First, second, third, and fourth PR relays. Let's see if I can find them real quick. First position runner relay, second position runner relay, third position runner relay, and fourth position runner relay. So you can see first position on the cam. Now if that thing turns more than, I guess, 8 positions, there are 4 wipers on there. So I guess they do that so like boy, this is complex, but it kind of needs to be. So you got one battery hits and he gets a double. So he comes down through here and the first PR, the first player runner relay comes on. The first, what did I just say it was? Whatever. It comes on, and then whenever he gets to first base, to light up first base, the first base relay comes on. But then he keeps running, so now by the time that it gets to here, this next wiper is up here. So if they leave that one on, then a second runner starts running while the first one's up here, because by this time you've turned on this one. That's pretty wild. So I wonder what happens if I just lock on the first, the second, the third, and the fourth relays. It looks like they all lock. I just lock them all on and then just hold that switch in. It should light up every single one of the lights. Okay, so they don't lock into place, these particular ones. They're just momentary. So what I've done is I just wedged something in there to hold it closed. So that's the fourth position, which is, you know, from third to home. And if I start the little motor, they're all working just fine. Third position, they're all working just fine. Now, when we were messing with it, I think the second and the first weren't working, were they? Maybe every light was out. Look. Not working. Second position doesn't work. And finally, the first position also doesn't work. Interesting. Okay, so if you look, I'm just trying to eyeball it. And these two sets work. And they have them separated where they're all tied together with one line. So if you look from here down, they're powered by these two wires. So there's, who in the world knows what color those are supposed to be? And I don't know why there's two, but whatever. Okay, and then if you get to this one, there's one wire there. Maybe that's the one that, no, it looks like it loops down. Okay, but then if you go farther down the line, on this end, there's a double wire. What would you call that? Gray and yellow? Maybe white and yellow. Look, you can see one turns and does a hard turn back here. And then the other one goes that way. Kind of looks like gray and yellow, right? Okay. Well, if you go over to this one that doesn't work, there's two wires there. What color would you consider that? You just can't read it, really. And if you follow the wire up, there is another wire up there that's connected to that first screw. So it's kind of like, that might be a jumper or something, I don't know. So maybe that just runs down to the other end and they just did it like that, so that there's 2 points of connection. Maybe. But look at this one. So this one, the second base one that doesn't work right, it has one wire there. And you see it kind of crooks and goes down this way, right? So we got the one wire there, and then if you follow it down, there's no other wire, but there's this. What in the world is that? That's not supposed to be like that. It probably goes there, but do you really need it if you got the one down here? You'd think this one would be sufficient. I don't know. It's just weird. Okay, so I'm gonna look in the schematic, see if I can figure it out. So these first two are the ones that don't work. So gray and red should be on the first one, and you see it connects to 7 lights. And then on the second one, gray and blue, and it connects to 7 lights. And then on the third one, that's supposedly gray and yellow. I did guess that one right. Hey, I can still tell. And then the fourth one was gray and green. So 4 and 3 seem to be working fine. Oh, and I hit all the base relays. All of them seem to be working fine. It's just those two. So gray and red and gray and blue we have a problem with. Okay, the second player one, apparently it was still a bad connection on the Jones plug. So I cleaned that and... not second player, second position. So between first and second base. So I have yet to get the first position working. Still working on it though. Okay, so the first base one was also bad connection on the Jones plug. So I didn't do a good enough job cleaning them the first time. But it does appear that all of our lights are working. Strangely, they move backwards when you hold that coil in. There must be a switch that switches it one way or the other. Which is how they make them run past and then run back, I guess. What was that? Did all the lights just blink? I don't know. Okay, so I've re-cleaned the Jones plugs. I think we've got them better now, so hopefully. So now that we have all of the lights, I know all of the lights work. I'm gonna put all of that crap back together, and then we'll look at that running man unit and see how that thing works. Okay, so I got all that back on there. This is the man motor unit, and it has this. Look at that switch there. There's a loose screw on the top, and there's a piece of metal just hanging off of it. Some kind of something somebody's rigged up, and I can't tell what it's supposed to go to. What's that all about? Look at it. Why would they do that? What were they thinking? Maybe it goes up in here. I don't know. That shouldn't be there, should it? What is the purpose of that? Why did they do that? So what do you do in a situation like this? I'll show you what you do. It's real easy to figure this out. If you go to planetarypinball.com, their website, they are the company that has the rights to the Williams pinball IP at the moment. It's a licensed thing that they pay for from Williams. Williams is still in business. Didn't we? Yeah, this is the same video. We looked at that earlier. But Williams, last I heard, just makes slot machines. They don't make pinball machines anymore. So Planetary Pinball basically handles all of the pinball parts and licensing and that kind of stuff. So if you go on their website, they have all of the Williams parts manuals, or a lot of them, scanned in, and you can just browse right through them. So I went and found the one from 1970. And they talk about the base run motor unit in the game Hit and Run. And they have a nice exploded diagram of it here. And if you look, that piece that I'm talking about, that we were just looking at, is right on that screw. And it's not there originally. It's not supposed to be there. You can see there's nothing like that there. So I'm not putting it back on. It's gone. And you can also see that there is, this is the cams or whatever. You saw there's 4 spots for it to stop. Basically what happens with that thing is once the coil pulls in, the thing turns until it gets to another one of these little notches, which makes this pull in and turns off one of the, or maybe it's this one. But it makes it turn off the motor. So the motor just runs, you know, a whole base. I don't know how it does the thing where it overruns. That's pretty cool. But we don't really need to know if I can't figure it out. But there's all these little rivet contacts on here. they're probably just involved with the lights. I don't know, but I guess it would also, that must have something to do with telling the game too where the actual batter is, so it can tell if it's out or not. So maybe we can look on the schematics to figure out how that's supposed to work. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean all these contacts. I'm going to take that little bar off, and I don't know what I'll do to it. I'm very angry at it. Well, we'll take that off and I'll drop it in the coin box or something. But I'm going to clean all of those little rivets. I'm not even going to take this thing off, though. It's all working really good. I'm just going to clean the rivets as best I can. But yeah, that's that. So let's look on the schematics and see if we can figure out what that thing actually does besides light up light bulbs. Okay, so we looked at the light bulbs earlier, but you can see here is another one of the wiper fingers. And as it goes around, it's going to hit this spot, which will basically ground out this line, which would turn on, at that moment, the off-base relay. And then it'll move off of that, and it moves on to the next one. It looks like when it gets there, it turns on the approach relay. And then it moves off of that, and it goes a few more, and then it gets back to the off-base relay, and then the approach relay, and then this one is the advanced base relay. And it just cycles through those three relays as it turns around. So they've got it all timed out and figured out that when the light is here, it's doing this, and when the light is there, it's doing that. And then, you know, we read the theory of operation earlier in the manual. But luckily, engineers figured it all out for us. All we got to do is clean it. It is already working. So yeah, so one set of wipers is turning on and off these relays. And then another set of wipers is just turning on and off the light bulbs. All right, well, I took it apart anyway, just to make sure everything was cool. And it seems to be all lined up. I've taken the plunger out because it had that crazy spring. And so I bent it back, and then I reversed it so that this part was the part that was going haywire, and it was going up around here. But I reversed it back around how it's supposed to be. Somebody's been in there. Somebody in the last 52 years has worked on this thing, I can tell. So yeah, I got to put that back together, and then maybe we'll play it and see if it's any better. Well, no, we'll clean up the bat unit a little bit, but it seemed to be working pretty good. And I didn't have it at full power, so maybe I'll clean that too. We got to see if we can get it to hit a little harder. Alright, so I got it all back together. Now keep in mind, we haven't done anything to the top, so there's still issues on the top that are going to cause it not to play well. But let's see if it plays any better than it did. My score reel's acting up. That needs some more work, folks. Alright, so I don't know if the out lights are supposed to be lit. Maybe. Oh, I guess that reset it. Look, they're running. Now, why did 2 run, though? I don't think 2 should have ran. What happened? We're still not quite right. There shouldn't be 2 base runners. I've got 1 out, though, so I got an out earlier. Or did I just get an out there? I still don't think we're right. See how they're all running non-stop? Something. It's worse now than it was. What did y'all do? The bat's better. Cleaning that got it there. Okay, we're on inning 2. So we shouldn't have all 4 of them running. See, like, why did I have another one start? You know, I messed something up. It's because I left the one wedged shut with the file. Remember, because we were testing it? Why didn't y'all tell me to take... Come on, people. It's not going to work... Come on now, people. It's not going to work right if you've got one of the relay. If you wedge the relay closed, it's not going to work right. Come on now. Come on, people. You can't do that. So let's try that again. They got me. That was cool because it landed over here. It hit that switch, and he got me out at first. There's a switch in there somewhere. This thing is so filthy. Yeah, see that little switch in there? Awesome. Okay, let's try it one more time. See the stop action? Oh, fly out. What did I hit? Oh, did I hit this one? So I got an out because I didn't make it to first base. Woo! So that was a strike, yeah. Uh-huh. It's working, folks. It's cooperating. Look, he ran to third and he made it because the catcher got the ball, but it didn't have, the catcher couldn't throw him out because he was almost to the plate already. He ran home and he tried to run past, but not quite. Very cool. I'm not getting, like it should have lit up those bases, so something's still not quite right. He ran all of that. Was a in the park home run. Out at home. Wow, how cool was that? He tried to go all the way, but the ball got to the catcher right before he got to home plate, and he was out. So the catcher got the ball and he stopped at third. Okay, so he made it home and we got the score. But I guess I hit that switch and it got the guy out at home at first because he wasn't halfway yet. Oh no, I'm wrong. No, I got the guy made it to first and stopped. We still got 2 outs. The ding was just the guy scoring the run. Guy made it home, the other guy stopped at third. See, that would have been an out though, because without those rubber rings. Let's check the flyer to make sure those aren't supposed to be on there. So here's the original flyer, and would you look at that? They are supposed to be on there. Huh. Well, that makes the game a lot easier, doesn't it? I guess it doesn't really matter. Like, if you get 50 runs, I mean, what do they care? But I think there's like 5 innings or something. So, I mean, it's a lot of play for a quarter. Some of you folks that are always complaining about 3-ball action will be happy with this one. It looks like you can play it for damn near an hour on a quarter. Simple operation, 1 pitch button, 1 bat button. Well, we'll have to figure that out next time because I am going to work on the playfield. We got to get that much better, and then we'll keep playing it, and we'll get it to the point where we know how it's supposed to operate. But I think we've about got it now. To me, it seems a little bit too easy. And it looked like when we were playing it there a minute ago that the second and third baseman, I mean, the guy on second and third disappeared or something. So I don't know. We got to look into what's going on with that. And but you know, I don't want to play it too much with the playfield all banged up because we're just making it worse. Playing on a damaged playfield, it's going to chip all the paint and all of that. So in the next video, we will work the playfield. So I hope you enjoyed it so far. Make sure to leave a comment down below and let us know what you think. Have you ever even seen this thing? I don't know if they tried another one after this with this same kind of setup with the lights, but it's pretty cool. I'm enjoying it at least. So leave your comments below. Let us know what you think. Make sure to check out my brother, Donnie. If you don't know about him, my brother has his own channel here on YouTube. I'm over there with him a lot. Go check it out. The link is down below. And we'd like to thank everybody, especially here at Christmas, that's been using all of our Amazon links. There's a link to Amazon down below. If you're going to buy anything on Amazon, before you do, click our link. Simple as that. You don't have to sign up for anything or log in or anything like that. You just click the link, and then it says, hey, they must have came from Joe's Classic Video Games. Let's give Joe's Classic Video Games a commission. So they pay us a percentage of whatever you buy after you click that link. So thank you to everybody that's been doing that. I hope you enjoyed the video. We will see you on the next one. We'll try to make it look like this on ours.